and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for Patricia Shermack, former Clinton Elementary School teacher, Paul Sylvester, father to Officer Paul Sylvester, and father-in-law to Angela Sylvester, Clinton Elementary School, and Constance Pito, longtime CAF worker and mother of Patty Elwood. Thank you. Open tonight's Clinton School Committee meeting for Monday, February 12, 2024. I have a motion to approve the bills.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
A motion to approve the minutes from the school committee meeting of January 22nd, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Meyer for the celebration.
All right, so we have our students and staff of the month. I guess we'll start at the elementary school. Principal Silvio wants to come on up.
All right, we will start with our staff of the month. We are pleased to announce that our staff of the month is Kristen Matthews. So Kristen, Kristen was nominated overwhelmingly by several colleagues, several of which are here videotaping us right now. She is a preschool teacher and works primarily with students who have developmental delays or require specially designed programming. She was recognized for the environment that she establishes within her program for both the staff that work there and the students that are lucky enough to attend there. She treats and values every staff member as a valuable member of the team. She demonstrates extreme patience with both the staff and students and is always willing to step in and model and share her expertise with all so that growth is equal across the classroom. The staff that work with her always feel comfortable to ask questions and provide input. Kristen is reflective in her practice and it shows daily and is recognized among all that work with her. Her administration values her ability to always act in a way that is in the best interest of students and is willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen. Thank you, Kristen.
Hold on.
1, 2, 3.
And this way.
Would you like a cupcake?
Oh, just like that? Coming out of the woodwork. Congratulations.
All right, our student of the month. We could not be prouder than to recognize Aria Marzilli as our student of the month. Aria is a first grader at Clinton Elementary School. She is a big leader, and she uses her bubbly, friendly, outgoing personality as a strength. She innately recognizes when other students need a little extra help, care, or attention, and she just steps in and does her thing without being asked, and she does it so frequently it's noticed by all. She was recognized by several staff who just observe her doing these kind things and her leadership qualities that she shows in the elementary school. She has a genuine, empathetic, compassionate personality and brings a smile to everyone. We are proud to have Aria Marzilli representing Clinton Elementary School as our role model student. You got a good one? Yeah. All right. All right. Here, honey. You're going to shake everybody's hand.
Congratulations. Here's after you. You can walk down.
All the way, and see if your hands are
You want to go down? Oh, how smart you are.
Congratulations.
Like, I'm not going to be able to reach.
Congratulations, kiddo. Awesome job. Great job. Smart kid. She's like, I'm not reaching over that table.
All right, and now we'll have our middle school staff and students.
Okay, I am pleased to announce Nashley Ortega as the Student of the Month at Clinton Middle School. Nashley joined CMS this year as a 6th grader. At the beginning of the school year, Nashley had very little knowledge of English, but has worked tirelessly to learn the language and to keep up with her academic work. She is an active participant in classroom discussions and tries to use English as much as possible when interacting with her peers in class. Nashley's hard work and dedication have paid off, and she continues to make remarkable progress in learning English. In mathematics, Nashley is an inquisitive student who uses her Chromebook to communicate with her classmates. Her math skills have significantly improved, and she always shows her work to demonstrate her understanding of the concepts taught. She completes all of her homework and class assignments on time, and her perfect attendance is a testament to her motivation and eagerness to learn. Apart from her academic achievements, Nashley brings a positive attitude to school every single day. She greets staff and students with a cheerful smile and a friendly hello. Whenever new English language students join the class, she acts as a welcoming committee, helping them with the transition, partnering with them during academic activities, guiding them through her daily schedule, and including them during recess and lunch. She is respectful, takes risks, and treats everyone kindly. Nashley's teachers are incredibly proud of her progress and look forward to seeing her achieve even more. Congratulations.
It's all right. I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to give you this. Okay?
Okay.
Congratulations. Great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Buen trabajo. Thank you.
Okay, I guess I talk too much, I've been told by my colleagues. So tonight we celebrate and honor a shining example of compassion, dedication, and selflessness within our CMS family. It is my privilege to announce Mrs. Kelsey Grant as our staff member of the month. Mrs. Grant's journey to this moment is not just one of professional excellence, but of extraordinary humanity. In times of need, we often witness the true measure of an individual's character. And Mrs. Grant's character shines bright, illuminating the path of kindness and support for her colleagues and students alike. Recently, when one of our cherished colleagues faced a delicate family matter, Mrs. Grant didn't hesitate to step in and offer her unwavering support. With grace and determination, she seamlessly assumed the responsibilities of not just her class, but also of those of her teammates. Alongside our dedicated instructional assistants, Mrs. Grant fearlessly took on the challenge of managing 2 classes simultaneously. The combined classes led by Mrs. Grant were a testament to her exceptional teaching and her innate ability to inspire collaboration and excellence among our students. Mrs. Grant's actions embody the very essence of what makes CMS such a special place, a place where individuals rally around each other in times of need and where support knows no bounds. So tonight, as we honor Kelsey as our staff member of the month, let us not only celebrate her accomplishments, but also recognize the collective spirit of kindness and the unity she represents. Mrs. Grant, your selflessness, dedication, and unwavering commitment to our school community serve as an inspiration to all of us.
Congratulations, thank you.
All right. So back to the high school.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to announce our staff member of the month. Her name is Kathy Curry, Mrs. Curry. Mrs. Curry puts in so much effort into her students and clearly has a passion for what she teaches. Being in her class is a lot of fun, and she provides constant encouragement so that solving problems feels like satisfying accomplishments. I look forward to her class every day, and it's easy to have an interest in computer science because of the clear passion and knowledge she has for it. I love how she vouches for her classes and always wants to provide us with the opportunity to succeed. Even when I leave high school, I will always remember her and be forever grateful for the amazing help and encouragement she has shown me in her classes. If anyone deserves a recognition award, it is most definitely her, Mrs. Kathy Curry.
Just so you know, the high school students nominate. Mr. Cermak doesn't actually sit in our class every day.
Perfect, very nice.
I forgot to say that students do nominate.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Staff
Yeah, of course.
Just because we can still appreciate
Yeah,
classes.
yeah.
We'll get out of high school.
We hope. And next we have a student that was nominated by a staff member, Mairead Frisch. May continues to exceed expectations as a student in the Child Development Program. Their dedication, commitment, and genuine interest in child development and working with young children is unparalleled. Any opportunity she gets, she joins us in the preschool. The rapport she is building with the young students is one based on knowledge, interest, and genuine kindness. The preschool students light up when she enters the room. They all know her by name and greet her with smiles, hugs, and excitement that she is back, as they say. She demonstrates a genuine interest in each and every preschooler. She takes the time to greet them, say goodbye, and is forming meaningful relationships. In the academic setting, May is inquisitive and reflective. She puts forth her best effort in assignments. In the practicum setting, she is caring, engaging, and reflective. She is continually making connections between the concepts we are learning in class, asking questions, linking them directly to our preschool students, and putting them into practice. May has been flexible with her scheduling and genuinely seems happy and thankful to be in the preschool whenever. I have seen her make so much growth and progress in her confidence working with the young children. One of her biggest attributes is her desire and passion that is evident when she is in the preschool. She is willing to do whatever and whenever to help. I can't wait to see what her future holds and what she chooses to do in the future. I know without a doubt she will contribute in a positive manner to the field of early childhood education if she chooses that for her path. Ladies and gentlemen, Mairead Frisch. Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you. Congratulations.
All right, one more round of applause for all our recipients.
All right, at this point, we're going to carry on with the rest of the meeting. I don't imagine anybody's going to stick around, so have a great night. Usually they just walk.
I always used to like to say, we invite you to, if you want to step outside and take pictures, that's fine.
They're already walking out.
Right?
If you want to stay for an update, that'd be great.
Plenty of seats.
I should have done my middle school updates before we let them all go.
Yeah, do the whole
we have finance committee here, so Billy McGrail.
Steve, bring it back in. Let's start over.
I was wondering, he might stay. She normally, his wife normally stays. This is McGrail, normally stays.
The box that's closed is regular ones, and then the one that's open is gluten free. Chocolate chip and they're yummy. Yes. You can have whatever you want.
Can't even tell the difference. No, my oldest granddaughter,
Anybody here for public comment? Okay, no student rep. CTA.
Last Tuesday, I attended a meeting with the town representatives to talk about health insurance, and we heard from 4 different presentators, and now all the union heads need to meet together with our MTA rep to talk about the next step. So we're in the process, and it's moving forward. And thank you, Dr. Meyer, for giving us tomorrow off.
I just,
Mother Nature gave me
and the peer pressure.
I know, all the other towns are doing it. My phone went off when I was in the parking lot. I was like, oh.
We might mention it a little bit later, but I was also able to attend that insurance meeting, and there were some quotes that looked pretty favorable for next year, which was good. We've had a big hike, after having a very large hike last year. It looks like this year any of those solutions would be less of an impact. It's just a matter of figuring out what the best direction is for this year and possibly for future years, or however we want to look at it. I think it's a short-term or a long-term plan. So, all right. Sorry.
No. Anybody here from the PTA? I know you're here.
Like we wouldn't have something to say. Hi, everybody. So if you haven't already realized, we brought the famous Nothing Bundt cupcakes. There are some over on the table. If you haven't had a chance to get one, please do so. They are amazing, and then I don't have to take them home and eat them all. And make sure that if you get the chance, support them. They're out of Shrewsbury. They are our biggest supporter. They've supported every event for us. They will be at our family bingo this coming March, and then they've also agreed to donate for the multicultural event in April as well. We are up to 81 members. We had a couple new members join us from the 3rd grade. And then we actually had the excitement for Leap Day this month. We are working with the elementary school and the middle school to actually do a hide frogs throughout the school for the kids to find. So, yeah. It's going to be fun. And then we will actually have some high school kids that are going to help us with the elementary school. They're really excited to do it. So it gets them involved and a little something for the kids because it's Leap Day. We have planning for the Political Action Committee is in progress for the CMS project. We are working on that. And by when I say we, I mean Emily. 2024 scholarships for CHS seniors are available. We have shared applications out in our newsletter. We have sent them out to all the administration as well as the contact at the high school. Applications are due by April 30th. We hope that any and all that can do so and apply. We have money. We want to give it to those who are deserving. We are in full planning mode for our CPS Family Bingo, which is March 15th. The details in full will be in our next newsletter. We did give you a snippet in our most recent one. We have our nice little donation things that we've given you all. Feel free to pick a grade and donate, see who you want to, help win. The winners will be at the grade challenge that's linked with this is been sent out to all the schools. We've sent out flyers, one grade at each school. So different from last year. Last year we did one grade in general. We want to get all the schools involved and celebrate them all. So one at the elementary school, one at the middle school, and one at the high school will win a pizza and frozen treat party. We say frozen treat because we are hoping to do the Kona ice truck, but we have to work with the school and when it's available. And pizza's pizza. The deadline for that grade challenge ending is March 13th, so we have time to tally and announce the winner. We have book fairs coming up at the middle school the end of April, and then the beginning of May in CES. And then our next meeting on March 7th is at 6:15, but we are not going to be doing it via Google Meet. We are going to focus on who can attend that are wanting to volunteer or help planning with the bingo night that will be on the 15th. And now I'm going to be quiet.
Questions?
Any questions?
Thanks, Rebecca.
Anybody want a cup?
Thank you.
CPAC. LPAC.
Hi, everybody. So I meet with the family on January 23rd. We were planning for the multicultural night. I hope you can make it. So here it is. You can share. And so we already have a family from India performing a dance from India, Guatemala. We have setting up some tables, and we hope to, now we're gonna spread the voice, so I hope more family join us. Planning to have preschool doing a craft to decorate that night. Kindergarten as well. I want all the family to feel welcome and see, hey, my children did something for this night. So it's something that I would like administration to be there so family can meet them. Some family ask who is the superintendent or who is the principal from my school. So it would be nice that everybody can be there with us. And we're gonna have the PTA there. Miss Quiz gonna be there as well with the school band. So I hope it's gonna be a very good night. Thank you.
Thank you. A rep from the Clinton Youth Soccer.
Thanks for having us. Good. I'm Allison Bamforth. I'm co-president of Clinton Youth Soccer. Did you all get the proposal? You did? Okay, great. All right, so what we're trying to do is, everybody knows the prices of everything in the world have gone up. So we are trying to keep our registration fees reasonable for our families. So for our travel teams, it's $100 per season. And for our U6, so our pre-K, first grade, pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, it's $80 per season. So to try to keep those fees low, try to help replace aging equipment that we have, and also still be able to give scholarships to seniors, we are hoping to start to do sponsorship banners. So what we would like to do is hang banners down near where we have our shed and where we keep our small nets at the athletic fields on the corner of South Meadow. So we'd like to reach out to local businesses. Our plan is 3x5 banners, $250 for just the spring season or $350 for spring and fall, just to help be able to keep fees low for our families in town. We average about 300 players per season. We actually right now have 39 kids on our wait list. So our program is growing, which is a good and bad problem to have. But to try to keep registration fees low, replace our aging equipment, and to be able to keep giving back to the community for fundraisers and scholarships, we would like to see how we can, if we can be successful with these banners.
Any questions?
I'll just clarify that in your package, you do have policy KHB on advertising in schools, and it says no advertising of commercial products or services will be permitted in school buildings or on school grounds or properties without prior approval of the school committee. So that's why we kind of put this on the agenda, because it really was sort of beyond my scope to do anything with it.
So what I'd like to do,
Yeah.
ask for a motion when I'm done talking, is, just because this is the first time,
Yeah.
although Kelly sends us out on Friday, I admit I don't read it. I'd like to say I read it over the weekend, but I must
Honesty's important.
Yeah. So, first, I'd like to have, to make sure, just any questions I have, and I don't
Sure.
know what my questions are at this
Okay.
point. So when I ask the board for a motion, just table it, and then put it on our agenda for our next meeting, and then on that meeting, get a vote.
Okay.
If that's
That's fine with me. I don't have a
Yeah, just
problem
one
with
quick question. So what's on the banner? The business name or logo?
Yeah, so we plan to put the logo on it. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. So pizza shops, landscape companies, we'll stay away from the cannabis companies.
Do we have the, at one time, we had the logos on the baseball field, right? On the baseball
I think at
field?
one point they did one with the baseball field, but I think it was,
it was the high school baseball team that ran the fundraiser.
yeah.
Right?
I think it was before, it was even it was like at least over 7 years ago, because I don't think I was here when we did it. They might have still been up here when I got here, but I wasn't here when we, so.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we consider the letter and the request, giving us the opportunity to review it and have a discussion, and then come back and put it on the agenda for our findings.
Second. Any other discussion or questions?
I'm just wondering, do we need a specific guideline, like, I know you mentioned, of course.
That would be my, yeah.
I mean, if Sam Adams comes and, is that allowable or?
I think that's the stuff we might, and if you guys have questions like that too, I can always shoot them to Sharon, our legal counsel, just to see if there might be other school districts. I mean, other school districts obviously have done this, so there might be some draft language or something that they're comfortable with. Because it's just, you want to be, you always want to be careful, because as soon as you say no to somebody, and then someone's going to be like, well, how come they got a yes, and so we just want to make sure that those guidelines would be something that we could live with. And then just a clarifying question, I'm assuming your vision is to put these up and just sort of like leave them up, or you're not going to like take them down and put them up for your games or whatever?
Our vision was to leave them up for the season, so
Yeah.
it's an 8-week season. I look to you if you're like, yeah, you can keep up during the summer or not, but definitely take them down by the end of the fall, because that's our 2 seasons. If you don't feel comfortable with that, we could go down the route with almost like a realtor sign, where we could maybe put it in the ground like for games and then put them away. The preference would be to leave them up. It's better advertising. Especially, we share the fields with the middle schools in the fall, and so we're hoping that families from out of town would be down there watching games, or even our Clinton soccer games would be there. Be like, oh, we're kind of hungry. Oh, let's go check out that Mr. Z's Pizza or something. Try to get a little something out of it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
You get creative sometimes.
Thanks. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, so, all in favor?
Yeah. All right,
Thank
so
you.
right now the motion was to table it, and then we'll try to get some specifics of any of your concerns. You can maybe share them with Kelly or me. And then if there are questions that you can answer, we'll reach out to you. If there are questions that we want to get a legal opinion on, we can do that. And then we'll probably figure out what we
2
do
weeks.
from there.
Yeah, perfect.
2 weeks is the next meeting?
March 4th.
March 4th. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, have a good night.
Thanks. All right, Dr. Meyer.
All right, staffing update, we just have one resignation, Morgan Ferguson, IA at Clinton Elementary School. She is, I think her last day is going to be the Monday after February vacation. February 26th. Preliminary FY25 cherry sheet came out. So, I know the item ran a nice little article on this already, but the preliminary budget that we posted was looking for an increase over last year of about 2.7 million and change. Last year our Chapter 7 increase was about 1.9 million. This year we were thinking if it was similar, it was the same type of calculation, plus we should have got a little increase from preschool. We were thinking probably around the 2 million mark. The thing I didn't count on was the inflation factor. They changed their inflation factor from 4.5 down to 1.35. Which significantly reduced the increment. So the net increase in Chapter 70 was just over $1 million, like $1 million and $1,060,000 or so. So obviously that has implications in terms of what we put forward as a preliminary budget, but it is a preliminary budget, right? There's some components of that would be, you know, what we thought we needed to do, you know, like a very best in terms of trying to improve everything. I think with, you know, $1 million is still, you know, there's 212, I think, districts or towns that got minimum aid this year, which means they basically got in the governor's budget like $30 a kid. So $1 million is nothing to complain about. Even with that $1 million, it's you know, if just that $1 million were added onto our budget, that'd be over a 3% increase, just like that. So that'll kind of roll into so that's the main thing. I'll talk a little about some of the changes in budget version A at the next thing. In some of these topics, some of these things, you can see some of the other things in there, whether it's charter school reimbursement, school choice, you know, so our school choice went down a little bit, our charter school reimbursement went up a little bit. So there's some other little factors in there. These come out every year. You can see there's a bunch of empty columns. Each version of the budget, as it goes through, they'll continue to populate that. This is the preliminary, this is based off the governor's budget, and which I believe is always called House 1, and then they'll go through and they'll come up with the next one. So as far as Chapter 70 is concerned, we'll talk about when we go budget version A. We're trying to make some changes to get us closer to that number, but I still want to wait and see what the next round of the funding looks like, because as I mentioned, there's a lot of schools that just got minimum aid, and a lot of schools that had, you know, a lot of larger cities that had been getting significant Student Opportunity Act increases also saw those significantly cut. So we don't know if there might be any changes in future versions of the budget. So that's that. The next page, after the two cherry sheets, there's the expenditures and the charges, or the revenue and the expenses. I gave you just a little calculation. This is sort of how they calculate our aid in terms of they come up with your foundation budget, which is all based on your student population and enrollment. And then they base your required contribution. Usually it's based off what you've done in the past, plus a sort of a step to try to get you towards a target. And then they kind of subtract out from the foundation budget minus your required local contribution, your minimum contribution, to figure out what your Chapter 78 is for the year. You can see that line 6 there, minimum $30 per pupil increase. So if it wasn't for the Student Opportunity Act, we could have been looking at $62,850 in Chapter 70 if we were a minimum aid district. So that's that. The next one is a table, the one with the yellow on it. That's a table I made. And we'll just continue to try to populate some of these things as we know them. FY18 through FY22, all those figures I was able to get off the DESE website. FY23 is not published on the DESE website, but we've already filed our end-of-year report for FY23, so those are the numbers we filed. Obviously, we don't have the end-of-year report for FY24, and then FY25, these are preliminary. But it just kind of shows some of the differences. Number 4 is our required net school spending. And you can just see right now our required net school spending for FY25 is $34,402,000. But you can see that our actual net school spending, line 3 there, if you go to FY23, was $33 million already. So in terms of making sure we're at net school spending, I mean, you add the 2 years worth of Chapter 70 onto that, we're going to be well over required net school spending. So you can see what that difference is in the past, since FY18, difference between our actual net school spending and the required net school spending was $4 million at line 5 in FY18, and it's kind of worked its way down a little bit, popped up in FY21, went down a little bit. So, but that's where eventually you could see that if that number gets down, that's where the town then becomes required to increase additional revenue, maybe possibly beyond the Chapter 70 increase. But that's what we talk about when you calculate the actual net school spending. That includes those, you can see that town number up there, town net school spending and school net school spending from our end of year reports. So the school net school spending is typically what's appropriated to the schools. And then the town net school spending includes all the things that we don't directly control, but the town spends on schools, like health insurance, even the facilities department goes through there now. So what portions that they charge, or portions of certain percentages of certain salaries, whether it's HR or whatever. So just give you kind of a, a little bit of just sort of a sense of where we are in terms of net school spending. So that's all. I'm just trying to kind of keep a track of that in my head. So if it doesn't make sense to you, I'll gladly walk you through it. But it kind of made sense to me when I put it together. So, and now I guess I'll have Annette come on up if she wants, because we're going to go over some of the spreadsheets. So Annette and I met on January 31st, shortly after we got this preliminary Chapter 70 number, and we went through and made some changes to what we're calling Budget Version A. A lot of those changes were to remove some of the new positions, or possibly some of the new positions. For example, like the director of, we put in for our director of curriculum and instruction. We're still trying to keep that position in, but we shifted most of it to a grant. So we're trying to kind of keep it that way. So for Budget Version A, that position is still there, but a lot less of the salary is in the general fund. Some of the things that we had in there, like, like I remember, if you remember me talking about the tutoring, we removed that tutoring. That's all stuff that was being funded by the state right now. So for right now, we'll kind of wait and see if the state's going to fund it again next year. And then a lot of what we did was a lot of the tuitions, we really tried to go through and get out some of the placeholders and really base it more off what we think are actuals, and try to go from that way. It's not great to it's nice to have a little cushion in there because you don't know what's going to happen as we go between now and the end of the year, if anyone gets referred out of district or anything. But we always do use our circuit breaker reimbursement a year later, right? So we always kind of save it up this year and then spend it the following year. So, but you are allowed to spend the circuit breaker that you are receiving that year during that current year. So if we did have an extraordinary expense like that, like someone had a very expensive residential placement that came in or something, we would be able to tap into next year's circuit breaker if we needed to fund that if it was necessary. We tried to move about $450,000 of stuff to ESSER, and that was not cutting stuff, right? So what we tried to do was keep the things in there, but sort of just look at, if these are one-time things or things that fit the definition of an allowable expense in ESSER, could we look to purchase them through that? And it was about 450 available. I don't think we used all 450, right? We only put about 350 in there for now.
344.
344.
Yeah.
So those are the main changes that we made to Version A. Version A is in here. So if you look at the bottom line, if you're interested in it, is right now it's an increase of 1.543 to the general fund, which is about a 5.3%. Like I said, it's about $1,060,000. So we'd be asking, this version of the budget would be asking the town to pay an additional like $480,000 over just the Chapter 70 increase. So, but we'll see how that goes. This is budget, like I said, this is Version A, and we want to see, before we panic too much or whatever, we want to see a couple variables. Some of them would be, how do the next rounds of the state budget go, and sort of like how is our budget this year tracking, which we'll get to in a minute, and then looking at those things like ESSER and school choice and making sure that we can maximize those. And then at some point, we might have to go through and cut some of those things. I mean, some things might be like, hey, we wanted to add 50 new touchscreens in the elementary school. Well, we just can't afford 50 new touchscreens next year. Maybe we can afford 10, and we'll phase them in a little more, something like that. So we haven't really got too much to that. But we can always, so $480,000 might sound like a lot. I think we can chip away at that if that's what we end up having to do. I think we'll be okay. It might, like I said, it might delay some things a little bit, or or cut a couple things here and there, but I think it won't be, there's nothing that's going to be devastation, you know? And then hopefully, you know, like I said, that insurance seemed to be promising, so hopefully that there's nothing that's, you know, out of whack on the town end that would cause any issues with sort of at least letting us pass through the full Chapter 70. So, so I don't know, Annette, is there anything I missed on version A?
It's everything there.
All right, and then next in your packet is a Student Opportunity Act plan draft. Oh, I'm sorry, does anyone have any questions on budget version A before we kind of go?
I was just looking at the tuition for the day school and the, it just seemed like a pretty big drop on the private day school tuition, but you put reflects actuals, and then is that like the normal increase around
4.6 is what they were approved for, yeah, so that's the rate set by the state. Yeah.
So we know
Percentage,
those
yeah.
increases will be coming.
Yep,
Okay.
and then and I think in one of those, there was actually a student that wasn't just a placeholder, it was a student we found out was completing the program. So they were going to be, they weren't going to be back next year, yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so the Student Opportunity Act plan, so we have to file these every 3 years to sort of say, what are we looking at trying to do? So we filled out saying 5 areas, purchasing curriculum and materials and equipment aligned to statewide curriculum frameworks to support a comprehensive approach to early literacy, increase or improve professional development to support effective use of WIDA frameworks and high leverage practices for students with disabilities, developing additional pathways to strengthen college and career readiness through high-quality secondary pathways and programs, expanding early education and pre-kindergarten programming within, there's a typo, the district to expand access to pre-K, and social services to support students' social, emotional, and physical health through integrated services for student well-being and comprehensive tiered supports. So it's pretty similar to the ones we had done before in our last plan. The slight variations in the language are just because it reflects their guidance document about the wording that they are using for those evidence-based strategies now. And then, so there's some, you know, statements I had to put in here, you know, a little bit of background, different things we're doing, and then a little bit of a summary for each one of those with some money in there, showing how much we're spending on each one. You know, I think overall, it's kind of silly. Like, these seem to make the Student Opportunity Act plans seem to make sense when they first were coming out, because they wanted to try to make sure that you know, if they were saying you needed this money to help address gaps in student learning, they wanted to know, okay, well, how are you spending that money? Well, now they want to do it, you know, I mean, I think I have one line in there that basically says, please note, much of the FY25 increase will be used to fill substantial gaps in funding left by the expiration of ESSER funds to continue to support the research-based practices implemented through ESSER, right? So, I mean, if you really want me to account for money, like, that's pretty much it right there. Right. But they also said it's not just the increase, they just want to kind of know what you're spending on those. So this is a draft. We don't need to, like, get too much on it now. I'm sharing it with you now. The next meeting, I believe, is when we have the public hearing. In March on it, it'll be an item that would say public hearing, will ask for public comment. And then the final meeting, the meeting after that, I think March 25th or something like that, we would ask to vote once we had a finalized plan, so that we could submit it by the April 1st deadline. So this is just the first draft, so you can read it whenever you get a chance. If you have questions on it, you can ask me, or you can bring it up next meeting, okay?
Steve, did they give you any guidance as to, like, what the major difference was year over year as to why they used the cap on the inflationary percentage at 4.5 last year, but now it's only 1 and change this year? Like,
well, they're saying that 1.35 is the actual inflation percentage for this year. And then in the past couple of years, they used 4.5 because
like
that's
7 or 8, so
and
they
that's
felt
the
like they
cap,
could use the
right?
cap at
4.5 is the cap, so they went up all the way up to the cap because it was 7 or 8. Already going into this, there were a lot of superintendents, particularly some of the larger districts, that were pushing to say, sort of, like, we're already behind because of your sort of arbitrary 4.5.
Sure.
So, you know, if this is really only 1.35, why don't you go over it to kind of help
Phase
make
it
up?
in.
You know what
Sure.
I mean? So that's why I said I know there was some push for that, and like I said, I know for you know, for us, it's, you know, it might have been $900,000 less, but if you're a big city, it could be
Millions.
20,
Sure.
$50 million less, right?
Yep.
So I think that, that's why I'm interested to see if there is any movement in the next round of the budget, because I do think they would probably get a little bit of pressure to try to go above the true inflation to try to make up from
Right.
not capturing true inflation in the last couple of years. So, thank you. All right, the next thing you have here is our FY24 Quarter 2 update. So Annette worked on this. I don't know if, Annette, you want to highlight kind of what they're seeing here?
Numbers. Well, quarter 2, we are continuing working with the town to reconcile every month. And we make any adjustments needed before we post to the general ledger, so we have accurate numbers when we do reports. This part is an ongoing improvement plan, is to give us like quarterly accurate reports. So right now, the quarter 2 shows that we have a balance of $621,952. But quarter 3 will probably be more accurate. We are working with vendors to kind of close out any encumbrances, kind of working towards having a fourth quarter as clean as possible. We don't want any surprises in July, in August, getting all these big invoices. So we try to close those out as soon as possible. Our goal is to have a smooth transition into the end of the year, reconciling with the town, because that's going to affect our end of the year report with DESI. Every year we try to have everything up to date and build our database so we can report by the due date, which is September 30th. We haven't done that. Last year we did October, which is a huge improvement.
Most everyone gets the courtesy 1-month extension on
Yes.
that report, just so you know. Most everyone writes and says, can I get to October 30th?
And I was talking to other business managers, and they were like really into the year. So that was a big win for us in October. So that's pretty much what I have right now.
So that's one of those numbers that when I talked about the budget version A, right now there's $621,000 that are unencumbered, right? So we have our salaries, we're encumbered the salaries out. We have the actual tuitions right now, we try to encumber out that we're actually spending for tuitions, and there's $621,000 that's not encumbered. So some of that is savings that we knew because like the previous year, we were able to use previous year's money to pay sick leave buyback, for example, which means everything we had budgeted for this year's sick leave buyback is just sitting there, it hasn't been encumbered. So what we can do is that's like one of those expenses that you could look at and say, I have we have 120,000 or something like that budgeted for next year for sick leave buyback that we might be able to zero out, not to kick the debt down the road, but to pay it off this fiscal year because we know we can handle it. So those are some of the things that will, different things like that we can look at. And so, those are why I'm not panicking over 480,000. I'm sure we can come up with a plan and cover that somehow. So, all right. Any other questions for Annette?
Thanks, Annette.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That's most of the hard stuff. Couple memos in here. We just did learning walks. So we had a group of 9 of us, some admin and some teachers from the middle school, and then admin and teachers at the high school. We went around and visited classrooms, looking specifically at student engagement and meeting diverse needs. So what we do, we try to gather evidence, like what do we see is going on in the classroom, how do we map that against these sort of best practices from the look-fors, and try to come up with some summary statements about what we saw, and then use that to kind of narrow down on what some areas we might want to improve on. So overall, they were really, they were positive, and I think we saw a lot of I think one of the other things we were kind of looking at was not specifically in the look for, but when we could, if you were in like a math or an English classroom, trying to make sure that we saw evidence of the high-quality instructional materials being used as well, and we all saw that, and we saw a lot of it being used, seemingly with fidelity. So I didn't have everyone's lesson plan in front of me, but it was very positive to go through, and they were good walks to get into the class. These ones, I'm sharing. I know they do a lot more of these types of walks, even more informally at the elementary school. It was one of the things that we were really doing a lot of with during the our work with DESE when they were in need of targeted assistance. But we hadn't really we did a couple of these at the middle school and high school when probably pre-COVID, and then we really hadn't got back into it. So these were sort of getting back out there in the middle school and the high school to really try to get into classrooms and see what's going on. And not beyond just an evaluator, principals and assistant principals go in and observe all the time. One of the beauties of the learning walks is it's also, you go as a group so you can kind of calibrate a little bit. Social, emotional, and physical wellness and the community engagement. These are these are just strategic plan goals. Obviously, we're working on trying to update the strategic plan, but we try to just keep these on here so we remember them. I do think as far as social, emotional, physical wellness, it's something we did, a lot during COVID and trying to really create the tiered system of support in every building. And so I think that there's a lot of that going on. I still think that some of that, every once in a while, some of the feedback from the original, when we were looking at redoing the plan, the growth mindset stuff was still kind of coming up, making sure we're fostering that. And then community engagement, I think we're doing a lot more of that. I think there's some more volunteer programs going, again, now down at the elementary school, obviously with the PTA, the LPAC here tonight. So I think there's a lot of that collaboration starting to work, and we're trying to use our school councils and stuff to help with the revisions of this plan, trying to get people in there as much as we can. So, like I said, we're trying to kind of revise that right now. But those sort of it's always good to just look back at what we said we wanted to do and try to remind ourselves what we need to do. For the building project update, I don't really have anything in here because I thought we were going to have a big meeting tomorrow. That meeting is now Thursday.
Snow's going to end at noon.
I know. People got to get here. There's out-of-town people. It was so that meeting is now Thursday, and we'll go through that. There should be some good information. I do think we have a final number that we're going to move forward with the MSBA for the projected town share. I think the final number ended up being about 58 million, somewhere in that ballpark. The MSBA, when we were preparing the final documents for the MSBA, they had made some changes to their space sheet. So we actually had some space that was originally calculated to be ineligible that was now considered eligible, and our reimbursement rate went up. So when you look at our reimbursement rate and you look at the extra credit points we're getting for some of the energy efficiency and that kind of stuff, we're at like 78 now or 79. We're getting closer to like an 80% for that reimbursement rate. There's still caps. That's not the effective reimbursement rate, but that's the uneligible expenses.
Listen, 58 million is a far cry from the 85 million we showed when we first came into this project, and we had to really get to where we needed to be. So I think where people begin to get educated and understand direction versus position, the process has been well worth it in driving, what we're trying to get at.
We also did, one of the things for the all boards presentation that we'll have is Fontaine Brothers, a construction manager. They went back through, they actually did a walkthrough, I think, with Brian Farragher, or one of the custodians through the facilities department. And they went back and they kind of came up with a little more detail and some more numbers of what the building needs, basically the base repair option. We put it in kind of 2 tiers to try to show really tier 1 is really was more of the necessities and then the triggered codes. Tier 2 was some of the stuff that might have been included in that original number of 100 million.
Sure.
That was more things like energy efficiency for the skin of the building, right? Or new lockers, or things that you could say like aren't necessarily must-dos, but they're, things that, you would try to compare apples to apples. They included it. And honestly, looking at those preliminary numbers, just to do the tier 1 stuff is going to be more expensive than 57 million or 58 million.
Sure.
So it was like 70 million, I think, was that by the time you put that all in there. So, and that's probably not even counting the escalation cost if we do it piecemeal, down the road. So, so I think that's some good information that we'll try to get out there. That should all be at the all boards meeting on Thursday. And then I think from there, really, that's our kind of getting our final ducks in a row to submit to the MSBA. And then it'll be a matter of just kind of trying to get the word out there and try to make sure that we're packaging that information in easily digestible format so that people can just get their questions answered.
Steve, are we good on the link that was on the Facebook page and people being able to actually review the actual walkthrough, or did we just take it down altogether? Because I know there was definitely some confusion on people clicking on or going to the page, not being able to click on a link, looking at some picture and going, are we really building a black building school in a flat? And you're just like if you really think that when you're looking at that picture, then okay, good luck to you.
No, so
but I think just making sure that is accessible is the most important thing.
I think they did fix it. I think when we first found out it wasn't working, we just disabled it because it was over the weekend, and I believe they got the new. Yeah, they were able to actually download it and create our own link instead of, because originally it was linked to the architect's website, and I think they had something in there sharing permissions or something that I could get in and see it, but everyone else couldn't. So so we had to kind of fix that.
Steve, for the meeting on Thursday,
could
you, from your side, and maybe even have Mike Ward do it from the town, just send a robocall out to remind people? To Matt's point, I've read some stuff on social media this week, and there were some legit questions that people had about the construction, but there was also a lot of misinformation being put out there. And, it'd be nice if you at least say, hey, listen, we're having this meeting on Thursday, and if you have these, because these were construction questions, it's by me. But if they have legit, go to that meeting and get your questions answered, and, and people can see that, and just, there's a lot going on right now, so maybe just reminding people, hey, this meeting's up there, and like you're saying, Door Whittier and Fontaine, they're all going to be there.
Yeah, I definitely, that's a good point. I can definitely do a call on our system, but I'll try to reach out to Mike and see if he's comfortable. Even if he can't do a call, maybe he can do like the email or something, a little less obtrusive through that, the town system. I don't know what all they have for that, but we can see. Because to your point too, it's like I wish people would come if they have questions, but sometimes it's hard for me to reach people that aren't connected to the school. So. So that would be, it is being recorded, yep, and we'll get it. I think the plan is to live stream it, although I did kind of get a panicked, like one of our live stream machines just like blew up, so we might have to pick.
Allowed to maybe like Facebook Live it if they're in attendance?
I don't know, we could see.
Yeah, it's a public meeting.
We can Google Meet it. We can Google Meet it. We have an hour. We can set up our Google Meet.
Yeah, I mean, we're planning on trying to live stream it, so if you were just setting it up sort of like stationary to here, that could probably work if you wanted to, but we can figure that out, but we'll definitely record it. I think we're not sure, we plan to live stream it, but like I said, I think one of our live stream machines literally, like, right before this meeting, I found out that one of them is now not functional, and I think we have to choose between a basketball game or the all boards meeting on Thursday, unless we can get the part replaced. So we'll have to figure that out.
So, as awful as it sounds, I could probably tell you who's going to show up to watch the most basketball or all boards.
What time is that meeting on Thursday? My husband told me it was Tuesday, but I didn't know because of the...
So, yeah, it's Thursday at 7. We actually push it back a little bit, too, because we had to accommodate some travel stuff. But so it was originally Tuesday at 6:30. It's now Thursday, the 15th, at 7. All right. And then the last thing I had on here, more of a kind of formality, but First Robotics is going to Rhode Island. The trip's about an hour and 40 minutes. What they'd like to do is have their kind of I think it's like their drive crew, like the ones that are the main operators and setup of the robot, go down the night before when they have to load up and spend the night down there with that crew, and then the rest of the team would come down and join them. It's kind of a practice that they do a lot, but this is just in Rhode Island, so it's overnight out-of-state travel. So just wanted to bring it to your attention and make sure that there's no issues with it.
Do you need anything formally from us for that? Like, you don't need, I mean...
If you wanted to take a vote to say it's okay, that wouldn't hurt me.
I'm happy to make a motion to support the FIRST Robotics program and them going
Approve
overnight for
their-
their...
yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Any other discussion, questions? All in favor?
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, and I think that's all I had, yep.
So curriculum, met on 7th.
Yeah, so our committees were busy, but I tried to actually get you some minutes in here so you can see there's some minutes from the Curriculum Instruction Committee, some minutes from the Safety Committee, the Marketing Committee met today. I think the biggest one that we probably have to take some action on would be the policies. Policy and Procedure met. You can see there's a list of them, starting with BHE, going through KDCB. Those are all new policies that are recommended by the Association of School Committees that the Policy Committee is recommending for adoption. There are 2 policies, ECF and EFC and EFD, we're recommending for revision, and 1 policy to remove. I do think because they are new policies, I would recommend that we just vote them as, if you're comfortable approving them as a first reading, and then we'll do the second reading next time.
So final vote being next meeting after a first read.
Yeah.
And that's for all the new policies,
New
revision
policies.
and removal as a first, or?
Revisions and removal, we can make those just tonight if you want, because they're kind of existing, but typically for a new policy, we'd want to at least do 2 readings so the public had time to consume.
Okay.
So we want to take that in 2 motions,
Yeah,
Mr.
so
Chair?
request a motion for the new policies, and the list is there, as for taking this as a first reading.
Okay. I'll make the motion that we review the new policies as a first read.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I would entertain a motion to accept the revision of EFC and EFD and removal of, I can't read it.
JICB.
I need glasses.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Facilities. And we're good on negotiations. Thank you. It's under old business. New business.
No school tomorrow.
There you go.
No school tomorrow.
There you go. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right.
See that?
Get your cheaters, bro.
I know, I have
Sure, why not? Equal opportunity. You usually have liquor, tobacco, and booze. Is what it was when we put the policy together way back when. I shut mine off.
15 minutes of celebrations, and we still pretty much got there.
Bernie doesn't like to work more than an hour and 20
Well, actually, there's nothing, actually, the bean ones on that.
minutes. Forever ago, there was like, when the school was together, Mike Craig, and then Tommy inherited it, but when the varsity baseball coach was doing advertising.
What a day. Thank you. You too.
Am I able to give it from chewing tobacco and things of that nature? Let's keep that out of it. And that's how they did it.